The Indianapolis Colts are victorious yet again, this time against the LA Chargers. So, what can be said about this surging Colts team? Can they make a serious playoff push, Super Bowl push? And how do you, the fans, feel after Indianapolis's 6-1 start? Well, let's talk about it. Welcome to the Horseshoe Huddle Podcast, as always presented by Indianapolis Colts on SI.com. My name is Drake Wally, deputy editor for Indianapolis Colts on SI, co-host of the show, and I'm joined by myself. Noah is at a family event out of town, so he allowed me to do this on my own. So I will be joining all of you guys tonight, and with this kind of setup, I want it to be way more loose leafed, way more, free flowing. I've got subjects obviously to talk about, right? But this could go for 30 minutes. It could go for the whole hour or anything in between. There is only one of me, but I'm expecting and confident also that we are going to get plenty of fan engagement. But we'll go ahead and start off hot here. We got Truett Trussell with a $3 super sticker. Truett, you're giving me a really good reason to drink this apple juice. I got to keep my vitamin C up. You know what I mean? As always, loyal listener, loyal viewer, you are an absolute sage and a legend, a scholar, and a saint. Thank you so much. Nathan Comanci says, bring back Danny Dimes long-term and welcome back cornerback David Long. Yes, Indianapolis signed David Long. The Indianapolis Colts are they're just decimated at cornerback. There is no bones about it. I mean, you can't possibly look at this team right now and be excited or happy about what's going on with the cornerback room. Of course, Charvarius Ward, he's, Shane Steichen, I believe he said he's going to return at some point, which is such a Shane Steichen answer. He'll be back at some point. We'll see. That's kind of what Steichen said. So, but as far as Daniel Jones goes, he can't be extended. He's only on a 1-year contract, but they will have to evaluate, hey, are we going to go with Daniel Jones for the foreseeable future? And honestly, he's shown literally no reason to not do that. So we'll see. Tony, very nice to see you. What's up? All-time historical, unstoppable offense for the shoe from Paul Wilson. Paul, they're killing it. They're tearing it up. There's nearly no indication that this is going to slow down. They just went on the road and took out a Chargers team that was a top 10 running offense or a top 10 passing defense. And Daniel Jones still dropped 288 yards on him. So I would say that this was a great victory, especially when you travel across the country over to the West Coast. It's so hard to win over there in LA. But yeah, I mean, guys, Patrick says one-man gun show tonight. It is a one-man show tonight. Noah's at a family event. He's out of town. Sean, good to see you, man. Hello to you. Cardiac Colts about got me again. Teresa, I think there was a couple moments in that game when the Colts, it was sort of close, right? But for the most part, they just dominated. They dominated both sides of the football, time of possession, running the ball, efficiency. Justin Herbert got hit 15 times, by the way. Indianapolis hit this man 15 times. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Chargers, but I think they're a good team. I do think the Chargers are a playoff team. I just think Indianapolis is playing on a different level than anybody else right now. But yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody joining in here. So very quick here, we're just going to go ahead and do the Colts versus Chargers gut reaction. Put your comments in there, man. Let's talk some Colts football here. I've got some stuff to talk about, but without when it's just me, it could go as long as you guys want it to. So I'm gonna be enjoying myself, and I'm sure you guys are too. But this was a game that I personally said, if the Colts want to be taken seriously, okay, they're going to need to go over to SoFi Stadium for the second time this year, and this time they're going to need to win. This was a game where Indianapolis had to make a statement. Okay, yippee, you beat the Raiders, who, by the way, look like a total dumpster fire. The Raiders are in fire everyone mode. That's how crappy that team is. Geno Smith looks like looks like New York Jets Geno Smith all over again. That's a team that everybody's just beating up on. The Dolphins, I mean, the Browns just routed them. You're looking at the Titans. Cam Ward's throwing passes behind his back, throwing backward passes and fumbling the football. And, even the post Brian Callahan era, Mike McCoy, the Titans are just a rough football team. And then you're looking at, the Rams game. Okay, the Colts did a great job offensively, but they didn't win. Then you're looking at the Broncos game. Well, there was that leverage call. There was that leverage penalty, blah, blah, blah. Arizona, well, they played Jacoby Brissett, and, you don't have Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, and they only had Trey McBride, and they still cooked you with Zay Jones and Greg Dortch. So this game was a big one for Indianapolis. It might have been the biggest one to date this season. And they just went out there and they absolutely beat the crap out of the Chargers. I mean, the score is 14 points. That was not a 14-point game. The Colts, honestly, that score shows that it was closer than it actually was. Justin Herbert, just to give you guys an idea here, 420 passing yards from this guy. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Louis Anarumo was playing the game of, you can have all the yards you want, pal, but we're not going to let you score a bunch of touchdowns. And they only scored 3 on the day. Cameron, I think it was Cameron Dicker. He knocked in a field goal, but I mean, the Colts were in complete control of this football game. And I think that if you're a fan of this football team, you can really be proud of this victory. I mean, they went out there and they took care of business. They took care of business on the road. What more do you want from this football team? I mean, just to give you an idea, the 420 yards from Justin Herbert, that's a lot. I think it's a career high for him. But when your quarterback is throwing 55 times in a game and you only run it 16, that's one of two things that are happening. Either you're in a shootout, kind of similar to Peyton Manning versus Tony Romo back in the day, or you're getting your ass kicked and you're constantly trying to play from behind. And not just from behind, but you're behind like 10 or more points and you just always have to throw. That's what Indianapolis was doing to the Chargers. They kept them behind the 8 ball the whole time. Justin Herbert had to go out there and just sling the pill all day long. So I think that my gut reaction, and everyone share yours. This is a statement victory, ladies and gentlemen. Indianapolis showed in this game they are the best team in football, bar none. I don't know who's close. Like, records will show that, other teams are close behind in the standings. But right now, the Colts are just trashing everybody. They've shown that they can rout bad teams. They've done that like 3 times. They've shown that they can win the close contests like they did with the Cardinals. They've shown, and in that game, Daniel Jones had a fourth quarter comeback. They showed that they can beat down tough defenses like the Broncos. I mean, Daniel Jones still had, I think, the most passing yards in a game this year against the Broncos. And they just showed that they can go on the road across the country to face an AFC rival that is coached by Jim Harbaugh, man. I mean, that's a tough squad. I don't care if they have a bunch of injuries on the offensive line. The Indianapolis Colts have Uber drivers playing cornerback right now, man. And they went out there and they still won the football game. They still came away with 2 interceptions. So my gut reaction is, man, Indianapolis is legit. They're legit. It's been hard for me to actually come out with that because I'm still surprised and blown away that Daniel Jones is the quarterback. He's an MVP candidate. This offense is just running over every defense that tries to step in their way. Just incredible, incredible football from Indianapolis. And, I think that if you're a Colts fan, you can be so proud. So, but we'll go ahead and just jump right into this, man. And like I said, everybody throw your comments in the comments section, throw your ideas in there, anything you're thinking. I am more than happy to address it. We're going to go ahead and start with this offense. J.J. Watt was the one who said that he feels like the Colts offense has no weaknesses. Okay. Matt Ryan was actually talking with Nate Burleson, and they went down everything: quarterback, running back, offensive line, defense. Matt Ryan said everything checks out. It's hard to find a weakness on this football team. I understand that there's, maybe there's some things on defense that you're looking at, like, okay, but Louis Anarumo has traversed all of that. I mean, he's been able to maneuver and pivot and make changes and adjust things to where you're almost not even missing a beat. But guys, this Colts offense is absolutely a machine. I mean, they're just decimating defenses. They're doing it up front. They're doing it through the air. They're doing it on the ground. Everybody was involved. Daniel Jones's ability to distribute the wealth is a completely overlooked skill that this guy has, right? You're talking about this guy. Yesterday, 5 went to Pierce, 4 went to Warren, 7 went to Pittman, 3 went to Taylor, and then he threw 1 to Gould, Allie Cox, Adonai Mitchell, and Amir Abdullah. All right. Daniel Jones isn't just favoring one target. He's not favoring one guy. This offense can hit you in so many ways that you don't know who in the hell you're supposed to cover more than someone else. And keep in mind, he did this without the quick win guy, Josh Downs. He did this without Josh Downs on the field. So I think that this offense showed even more in this game. The fact that you can hang 38 points, okay, on a top 10 pass defense. I know that they can run the football. I know the Chargers aren't great against the run. But the Colts didn't miss a beat ever. It was smooth sailing the whole time. Jones got sacked 1 time for 7 yards. Jonathan Taylor had a long of 23 rushing yards on a carry. If you take that away, he still has 15 carries for 71 yards. That's almost 5 yards a tote. Okay, so then he's got 3 freaking touchdowns. By the way, for the 3rd time this season, he has 3 touchdowns. He's pulled off a hat trick. Just absolute carnage. That offense is just absolutely sniping people. So, yeah. Okay, Brian Hall says, I can't believe we're back in talks of the NFL underdogs. I assume that you mean that, maybe you can clarify, I assume that you mean that there's people that are still looking at the Colts like they're an underdog. Not surprising. Like I said, I cover this team for Sports Illustrated every single day. I write every single day. I feel like I'm an expert of this team. I really do. And I still can't believe it. It's still shocking to me that Daniel Jones is doing this, like 7 weeks in, and I'm still like, I can't believe that he's doing this. And in fact, he was interviewed after the game, and it was the sideline reporter. I can't remember his name. Great reporter though. He asked him, he's like, hey, some of the outsiders, and he pointed to himself. He like fell on the sword, are a bit surprised by this. How do you feel about that? And Daniel Jones simply said, he goes, well, I don't think y'all know what you're looking at. Or he said something like that. And it's just absolutely not Daniel Jones that I know. That's not the laid back, super quiet Daniel Jones that I know. I just think that it's indicative that this guy is really turning a corner. I mean, he's happy, he's confident. But yeah, so yeah, Matt Ryan blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl and crapped his pants in Indy. I don't take him seriously anymore. Honestly, Patrick, I don't disagree. I think that Matt Ryan just that season, I think that he hit that cliff, right? That every quarterback eventually hits. But at the end of the day, man, that was just such a rough season. I don't think anybody would have survived. Honestly, that was just crap football from the Colts. Yeah, and I do like this one right here. This offensive is unstoppable. Still on the fence about the defense, though. I mean, we'll get to the defense. We'll get to this defense insidious, but the offense, it's historical. I mean, it's historically good. Right now they're just moving the football at will. They're literally doing whatever the heck they want to do. And it's going to be one of those things that, everyone's going to say, well, who's going to have to step up to stop this Colts offense, right? Who's going to have to make it happen? What do you need to do to stop this Colts offense? I mean, really the best, you got to get them off schedule. I think that the one game that really stands out as to how to get Indianapolis to kind of not fall apart, but to miss some beats offensively, get them off schedule. Right now they're cooking. They're not missing a beat. Steichen's got play after play after play ready. And actually, I pulled it up here. Yeah. So Evan Washburn from CBS Sports, he asks Daniel Jones, what outsiders knew about the Colts heading into the season and what he thought. And he says, sounds like y'all didn't know much. That is just not what Daniel Jones was doing in New York. He didn't have this swagger and this attitude. Are you kidding me? He looked like a little schoolboy that wanted to run home to mom. This guy was getting booed by his own fans. He was getting laughed at, just drugged through the mud. And I was one of those people that was doing it. When he beat the Colts in 2022, I'll never forget it. Andrew Moore was still on the show. And we both were like, Daniel Jones just the Colts made him look like an MVP candidate. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it, guys. I laughed at that. I said, that's how crappy Indianapolis is. Daniel Jones just threw 3 touchdowns on you. Now look at him. And look at what he is. He is an MVP candidate. And I said to myself, I hope to God the Colts never get Daniel Jones for any reason. Here he is. Like, it's crazy. Time is a flat circle, baby. That's all I got to say. It's pretty remarkable that we were talking so much garbage about Daniel Jones. I have for years, and Brian Dable. Brian Dable's, he's an angry gnome. So I'm happy for Daniel Jones and happy that he's found success. So let's see. We got some other comments here. The only way they're going to this is a good one. The only way that they're going to disrupt the Colts offense is if Taylor gets injured. Look, I will say this, Patrick. I don't think DJ Giddens or Tyler Goodson would be the guy to supplant Jonathan Taylor. They would use a committee backfield approach, but Amir Abdullah turned back the clock in that last game, man. Showed some prowess on special teams. He showed he's got the wheels out of the backfield. Not saying he's like a 15, 20 carry a game guy, but I think the Colts offense would definitely take just a massive hit if Taylor wasn't in there. But I also think that you'd be surprised at how they would deal with it. Like, I don't think that they would just fall off a cliff. But yes, it would be it would be way more difficult to move the football on schedule like they are. But yeah, guys, there's just you guys are putting so many comments in here. I absolutely love it. We'll get to one more here. Insidious throws out, at this point, the schedule doesn't even matter. They're playing so good they can beat anyone. Are they going to beat everyone by 30 points? Now, no, but I feel like they could beat anyone. You know what? Since you mentioned that, my friend, let's go ahead and dive right into that schedule. Like I said, I'm doing this stuff alone today. So I'll do offense, defense, who surprised, MVPs. All that stuff is definitely on the table, but I mean, this is free flowing, baby. This is going to be dictated by you people in the comments. So, all right. So let's see. I am lost on their website. Okay, here we go. So right now, Indianapolis upcoming, you've got you've got the Titans, then you've got the Steelers, then you've got the Falcons overseas, then you've got a bye, then you've got the Chiefs, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the 49ers on primetime. Expect Indianapolis to get another primetime game. That'd be crazy if they don't. Jaguars and Texans. So I think that this is a schedule that they can honestly, this is going to sound ridiculous, but they could win out. They're very much probably not going to. I'm not going to lie. The Chiefs stand out just because of Patrick Mahomes. I really am not that intimidated by the Steelers. They have a defense that's got some dudes, right? They've got a talented defense, but I think that you saw when they played the Bengals, there's a lot of ways you can beat that team. I mean, there is. And if you get Aaron Rodgers playing from behind, he's not who he used to be, man. He's not going to be able to go out there and just throw the ball 55, 60 times and get you back in the game. It's going to be harder for Aaron Rodgers. So if there's one opponent, and I'm not kidding, that stands out to me besides the Chiefs, it's the Texans. It's the Houston Texans. That is a team that has a number one level defense. They've got Will Anderson. They've got Jalen Petrie. They've got Derek Stingley. They've got linebackers galore. They've got Daniil Hunter. I mean, that is a defense that is a team that will fight. They're going to fight the Colts, and D'Amico Ryans always has them on tap. But Insidious, I would confidently say a 12-5 record should be definitely attainable. I could not imagine them not hitting 12 wins at this point. Anything past that is resounding. That's a resounding success. So, but yeah, okay. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and just jump into it here. So just to kind of continue, the offense really stood out in a way that impressed me because you had Josh Downs out of this game. That's a big element. You're missing your quick win guy. You're missing possibly your best route runner. And all that happened is the Colts just pivoted. No big deal. They just kept going, and Jonathan Taylor, yes, he did run all over that Chargers defense, but he only had 16 carries. He only had 19 touches in this game. Daniel Jones was the one who was slinging the pill, and he was the one who was dictating the pace of this football game, guys. I mean, he only ran it 5 times for 7 yards. Daniel Jones has not been a big runner of the football. He's been a big goal line weapon. And right now he's sitting, no joke, at 14 all-purpose touchdowns. Guess what? If Daniel Jones keeps playing the way he's been playing, he is on tap to have like 34 total touchdowns. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. The best season he's ever had was his rookie year as far as scoring. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he had 24 through the air and 2 on the ground. It gets you real fired up to see what he's doing and the confidence he's playing with and the way that these guys are bought into playing with him. It's so good for the Colts, man. But yeah, just the way he's been able to distribute the football. That's something that really stands out. And Jonathan Taylor only had 16 carries in this game. Now, yes, he did have 3 touchdowns. But again, Daniel Jones was the one who was dictating the pace of that offense. He was throwing the ball 34 times. He only completed 23 of those passes, and it's still over 60%. It was one of his more inaccurate days. And it's remarkable. He is literally in multiple categories. He is the best quarterback in football. Just let that sink in, guys. Daniel Jones is in many ways the best quarterback in football. Something else, of course, that stood out is just the Indianapolis Colts' offensive line. Tanner Bortolini. I know Patrick's a big Tanner Bortolini guy. I remember when Patrick, the CFO of this channel, Patrick Rye, he had so many mock drafts with Tanner Bortolini. And it just, he just looked like a Colt. He fit the mold of a Colts offensive lineman. He's from Wisconsin, and you know how Chris Ballard is about his Wisconsin alum, man. He loves himself some Wisconsin Badgers. I mean, Hunter Wohler, Wisconsin. Tanner Bortolini, Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin. I mean, he really tries to get as many Badgers on the Colts as he can. And all 3 of those guys outside of Wohler, who, RIP to his season, he had, I think it's the Liz Frank fracture, or I'm Liz Frank injury. I don't have it in front of me, but it was something really weird that ended his season. Great player, though. He looked really good coming into the regular season. So this is a team right now that is surging through the offensive line. Daniel Jones is staying upright. Jonathan Taylor, as great as he is, if he was running behind a subpar offensive line, if Daniel Jones was operating behind, a 16th overall offensive line, who knows where this offense would be? I mean, they'd probably still be putting up numbers, but would they be 6-1? Would they have just hung 38 points on the Chargers at home? I don't know about that, man. This offensive line, though, even with Dalton Tucker in that one game, even when Matt Gonsalves played and he got absolutely destroyed in pass protection against the Cardinals, they still were on point. I mean, it seems like even when there are flaws, the offense just no big deal. Just okay, couple pressures, couple sacks, whoop-de-doo. They just keep on moving, man. Like I said, Jonathan Taylor, obviously, if he was out, that would be a big problem for the offense. But if he's in there, the best way to stop this Colts offense is to get them off schedule. And that's what happened. You saw with the Rams, Daniel Jones, what's he do? He goes out there and underthrows a deep ball. It gets picked off. Adonai Mitchell tries to sky up for it. Can't get it. All right. That's off schedule. Your first drive, you throw a pick. I don't care who the hell you are in the NFL. That's not what you were anticipating. You're already off schedule, even though it's the first drive of the game. So this offense is blowing my mind. I will say one guy, and I know everyone's going to get so pumped about this. There's actually 2 guys I want to talk about. Obviously, hold on a second, water break. I just love H2O. Everyone, is going to talk about Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor and all this. 2 guys stood out to me. Tyler Warren, man, he's not just playing out of his mind for a rookie. He's playing like one of the best tight ends in football, ladies and gentlemen. He blocks. There was a post on X that said it showed Colston Loveland, pancaking a defensive end. Well, I'd like to see Tyler Warren do this to an edge rusher. Guess what, people? He does. He does. There was a massive run from Jonathan Taylor against the Titans where he did his best impression of Superman. And I mean, Tyler Warren literally punches that gap and opens up everything for Jonathan Taylor. Okay. Tyler Warren is a freaking animal. He's an animal of a blocker. He can run routes. He can body out people in the red zone. He can pull in contested catches. But his best attribute is his yards after catch ability. And he's huge. And you don't associate him with being fast. And he's not really that fast. But it's that as soon as that ball is in his hands, he's upfield. He's turning in. He's going right upfield, ready to knock somebody's teeth out. I mean, he's looking for contact. He is physical as hell. He's a faster, more agile, more Swiss Army knifey of a Jack Doyle type. I mean, the Colts have got themselves a guy that, honestly, he looks like a 10-year veteran. He looks like a 10-year veteran of the NFL. He looks like he's been nominated to 3 or 4 Pro Bowls and maybe even a second-team All-Pro nomination. He plays like a guy who has playoff experience. Tyler Warren is not a rookie. He doesn't come off to me as a rookie. He literally is. But that guy has veteran prowess just oozing from his pores. He looks like a veteran, and don't fret, guys. Pretty soon, he's going to have a C on his jersey. I would be blown the hell out of the water if next season he doesn't have a C on his jersey. He should, because he's earned it already. I mean, Tyler Warren looks fantastic. The other guy, though, this is probably a guy that, right back here, it's the jersey. It's the jersey, ladies and gentlemen. Alec Pierce. Alec freaking Pierce, man. Led the team in led the team in targets with 10. Led the team in receiving yards with 98. It was like 3rd and 17, and what does Daniel Jones do? Instead of like trying to find a safe underneath route where maybe the guy could win underneath and outrun coverage or pursuing tacklers, he just bombs it downfield to Alec Pierce, who torched his defender, and he was moving so fast he couldn't even stay on his feet. Alec Pierce, man, he needs an extension. You got to figure out a way to get Alec Pierce extended. There's a lot of guys you got to pay, right? At some point, you got to evaluate what you're going to be doing with Josh Downs. Okay. Adonai Mitchell, of course, he's going to go into year 3 next season. But Alec Pierce, he can block. He's still the most explosive vertical threat in the NFL. He's starting to round out his skill set. He's not just this guy who runs verticals downfield and pulls in the ball over your head. He can run routes now, ladies and gentlemen. He had 5 catches for 98 yards. Even if you take away one of those catches, that was for 48 yards. He's still sitting at 4 catches for 50 yards, which means dude is catching shorter intermediate stuff, because there were games last year where he'd have 2 catches for 90 yards, 3 catches for 130 and a score. Okay. This guy is running routes and he looks good. The Colts have got to keep him. They got to keep him in a Colts uniform. Exactly. Sir Enzo Fernandez here says something absolutely on the money. Great comment here, sir. Some team will offer decent money for AP. Decent money? He is a serious problem for a defense. I mean, here's the thing about Alec Pierce. He just needs one, and not even a touchdown. He needs one deep ball. One deep ball. Let's just say you got Jonathan Taylor in the freaking backfield, right? You're going back there. Dimes freaking throws it down the damn field. Pierce pulls in a 45-yarder. Immediately, that puts the defense on notice, and now they have to say, "Well, crap, we gotta be aware of the deep shots now." Who does that open up? That opens up Tyler Warren. That opens up Michael Pittman. That opens up the ground game. That opens up quarterback runs and read options and RPOs and everything else. One big play from Alec Pierce opens up the rest of the offense. And it was actually Manti Te'o that said it on Good Morning Football. He put it very profoundly. He said, the reason I think this Colts team is the best offense in football and the deadliest offense is they can beat you anywhere on the field. You're not going to be able to cover the whole field. They're going to find a spot that you aren't aware of, and they're going to hit you with it. Pierce can beat you deep. Michael Pittman can beat you anywhere, really, mostly intermediate and short. Josh Downs is your quick win option. Tyler Warren is a guy who can pretty much do it all, and he's a yards after catch guy. You got Jonathan Taylor, who's now catching freaking passes out of the backfield. I mean, they can just attack you everywhere. But yes, you're absolutely right, Sir Enzo. Alec Pierce, he would get some good offers. It would be very wise if Indianapolis really has it in the plans and really wants to keep this team as intact as possible, there's going to be some guys you got to let go. Okay. You can't keep them all. That's why there's a salary cap. But man, oh man, Alec Pierce has played himself absolutely positively into a contract extension, and it's not even close. So I think that one more thing I really want to point out here is it's impressive what Shane Steichen is doing. I think that we all talk about Jones and how he's had this big comeback. But I mean, you got to give Shane Steichen his flowers. Coach of the Year candidate. I mean, he should be leading that. He should be leading that race. I don't know, man. Like Shane Steichen, it's really, really true, guys, that he just needed a quarterback who could throw the ball and be accurate. I mean, I don't even really want to say what would Daniel Jones look like without Shane Steichen, right? Because it's been a perfect marriage. This is what Steichen wanted to have. He wanted this. He wanted a quarterback that could run his system, and Anthony Richardson just did not pan out. And look, in fact, I want to get some opinions in the chat here. What do you guys think is happening with Anthony Richardson? What do you guys think is in store for him? Right? If I had to say, honestly, at this point, it would take something to happen to Daniel Jones. Richardson would have to go in there. He's got to come back from IR first, and he'd have to just ball the hell out. Indianapolis they're in love with Danny Dimes. They're in love with Indiana Jones. It's just not panned out. Anthony Richardson, the poor guy, it was not his fault, this most recent injury. Something came off the wall when he was doing resistance workouts, and I think it was a metal hook that was like holding onto the resistance bands, just came right off and hits the dude in the orbital bone. I was in a car wreck when I was 18 years old where my truck flipped, and I broke my orbital bone with my head smashing the steering wheel. I'm telling you right now, man, when that breaks right there, I mean, it takes time for it to heal. I mean, it's not a surgery thing unless it's like something really bad and your eye is drooping or something. But I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Richardson's future is very much in doubt. Even if Daniel Jones, let's say that he just has this colossal dive into the abyss and the rest of the season he sucks. Not going to happen, first off. But you can't bank your future on Richardson anymore. You just can't do it. He can't. The most obvious thing is he can't, Patrick. I love that comment. I'm not going to show it, but you are an absolute savage. And you stop trying to make me laugh, Patrick, because it's going to work. And once this show is over, I'm going to go back and read that comment that's right there at the bottom, and I am just going to laugh my tush off. Tush push, baby. Tush push. We'll see what happens with that rule. But anyway, I think Anthony Richardson's done in Indy. You can't possibly take his fifth-year option. You can't spend that kind of money on a guy who has all the traits, has all the potential. But, man, he's in his fourth season, and he's a backup quarterback, and now he's on IR again. Now you're looking at Riley Leonard like the backup, and you're looking at Brett Rippon as, the third-string guy. Richardson right now is an injury designation, and it's very sad. And I'll end with this. It sucks. It sucks. Anthony Richardson, I'll never forget when me and Andrew Moore went to the combine and saw him. Just an absolute spectacle. I mean, everybody was on the edge of their seat waiting for him to throw a football, waiting for him to run, waiting for this guy to do anything. And you would hear, oh, ooh, ah. You'd hear like, oh, holy cow, like people had their breath taken away by this dude. And I remember saying to myself, if they don't get Anthony Richardson, that's absolutely ridiculous. And shame on the Colts for not betting on his traits. We were all wrong. And you know what? I think it's a mixture of things. I think that it's the injuries. I think that it's just the rawness. He just wasn't ready. But you know what? It's probably the most disappointing, but I'm going to go ahead and say it on this podcast. I also think that he didn't want it enough. I think that he trusted his athleticism too much. I don't think that his nose was in the playbook as much as it should have been. I don't think that he was working out as hard as he should have. I don't think he was taking the game of football very serious. I'll be honest with you. It just seemed like as soon as Daniel Jones came into the locker room, the players were pumped. They were like, oh my gosh. It's almost like they were subliminally saying that we have a real quarterback in here. Not saying that they don't like AR. AR is a great dude. But I just don't think Anthony Richardson is a professional quarterback up here. I just don't think he is. I think that he's undisciplined, and I just simply don't think that he wanted it bad enough. I also think Daniel Jones would have won that competition. Now, I'll tell you right now, when they signed Daniel Jones, I was like, Shane Steichen's just trying to save his tush. That's all. You know, he – oh, my gosh. Hold on a second. We've got a legend. We have got a legend here. Oh, my goodness. We have Patrick Frum. He is the host of the Sick Podcast Anvil Show. What a legend, man. Thank you so much for joining the show. This just got me all sorts of fired up. Patrick is an absolute badass. Please go follow him on X. He is at Colts Crow Eater, which is just fantastic. Says comes down to being immature for that position. Yes, and again, Patrick, it sucks to say. It sucks to admit this. And I know we're going off on a tangent here, but again, this is a very free-flowing episode. I'm by myself. So there's really no outline. There's no script. Like, who the hell cares about a script, right? But man, he just didn't sit like okay, it means a lot when you say that his best football was those first 4 games he played in his rookie season, right? That's the best he's looked. That's the best he's looked. And dare I say it's because defenses weren't ready for his athleticism or his arm. Once that second year started and defenses had tape on the guy, all you needed to do was take away the long ball. All you got to do was take away the deep ball, and you force him to throw short and to throw intermediate and layer throws and all that. I mean, it just didn't pan out for him, right? It didn't pan out. You started to see immense weaknesses. And then you got the tap out. And then you got, I don't know who the Colts PR person is that let Anthony Richardson get up on the podium and say, I was tired, I ain't going to lie. I did a lot of running there. I don't know who in the heck allowed him to say those words, but that's also a testament to his immaturity as a quarterback. So still very young, still very promising. We'll see. But I think that his next team is going to get one hell of an athletic quarterback that they hopefully can mold the way that the Colts just couldn't. But given what you have seen Shane Steichen do with Daniel Jones and the way that he has just pulled a 180 with his career, I'm pretty sure that Anthony Richardson was in the best hands possible, and it still didn't work out. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But Patrick, thank you so much, man. Patrick is an absolutely wonderful content creator, and every time I see him at training camp, he's just an absolute badass, hell of a guy. So, hey, man, I love you too. I love what you guys do as well on the Sick Podcast. So, it's just one of those things, man. I think to wrap up this, we'll go ahead and throw this from Paul Wilson. I doubt AR gets traded. He has been paid most of his $30 million contract, but I'm all for it. No one's going to trade a lot for AR, man. The Colts are going to get little to nothing. I think that you keep him. You keep him this season. Dare I say, what happens if you look, he is the best backup quarterback on the roster. He just is. He's better than Riley Leonard. He's definitely better than Brett Rippon. Brett Rippon is a practice squad level QB. That's what he is. That's who he is. And that's what he'll always be, is a practice squad level quarterback. But I just don't think they're going to trade him. What the hell would you get for him at this point? He can't stay healthy. He was under 50% of his completions last year. He's thrown more picks in his career than touchdowns. He's almost ran in more touchdowns than he's thrown. He's fumbled the ball incessantly. There's almost no reason to even trade for the guy if you're a suitor. So I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that they're going to ride this out. They're not going to take his 5th-year option, and Indianapolis will just go from there. So, but yes, we're going to go ahead and throw this in here. What did we learn about Lou Anarumo's defense? Couple things. First and foremost, and guys, go ahead and throw whatever you think here about Lou Anarumo's defense in there. It's going to be one of those things where I think there's going to be some criticism here, right? Man, the cornerback room is truly a spectacle of just decimation with health. Okay. You go all the way back to the preseason. Justin Wally out, boom, done. And he was a starter. Okay. Xavier Howard, even though he was awful and he had no business playing, you still had a veteran mind out there that could help guys with calls, that could help guys with adjustments, retires. Okay. Then you got Jalen Jones. He has hamstring issues all offseason. First game back, he's running down the field on special teams, and he has a non-contact injury with his hamstring again. Boom, he's on IR. Mike Hilton gets brought in from free agency to join this Colts secondary, a disciple of Lou Anarumo. Looked great in the 10 seconds in the cup of coffee he was with the Colts out there playing. Boom, he's on IR. Okay, then you got Kenny Moore. I mean, hell, he has an Achilles injury, right? And he looked a little bit hobbled out there. So he was injured. He wasn't even playing at 100%. And then you've got Charvarius Ward, who runs into the shoulder of Drew Ogletree, which apparently is a hammer to this dude's head. Now he's on IR, and Shane Steichen does the most Shane Steichen comment and said he'll be back at some point. Like, yes, Shane, of course he'll be back at some point. This, he didn't die. He's gonna come back. It's just this cornerback room, man. This was supposed to be a slaughter. And yes, okay, Ladd McConkey, he did some damage, 9 catches. Arondé Gadsden, what an absolute gem of a tight end. I mean, Arondé Gadsden, that's their starting tight end. If I'm LA, I'm like, that's the guy. We finally found him. It's not Gerald Everett. It's not Hunter Henry. It's freaking Arondé Gadsden, man. So 7 catches, 164 freaking yards for a tight end, long of 53. He hauled in 7 out of 9 targets. Of course, Keenan Allen did Keenan Allen stuff. 11 catches on 14 targets for 119 yards, had himself a tud. This defense allowed a lot of completions and they allowed a lot of passing yards, but they did not allow a lot of points. Okay. They took away the ball when it mattered. All right. Nick Cross had one of the best interceptions I've seen. Yeah, right here. Boom. The Gadsden scorching should tell you everything you need to know about the coverage skills of the linebacker room. You don't have Jalen Carlisle out there, man. Jermaine Pratt is not known for coverage. Zaire Franklin sure as hell is not known for coverage. Hell of a football player, right? I think Zaire's a great leader. I think that he's got just enough spice to his words that, it makes things interesting. I know last year people were pretty upset with him and EJ Speed's podcast. But Zaire Franklin, honestly, he's done some jawing this year, and it's been pretty great. But the on-field play, he's just not playing like he did last year. Zaire definitely has taken some steps back, but I mean, he's not a cover guy. They really need Jalen Carlisle back. I mean, last season Jalen Carlisle didn't play a whole lot, but he played great coverage for a linebacker. I think they're missing that. So, but I think that we learned about Lou Anarumo's defense. That he's able to traverse anything. I mean, even the pass rush was kind of underwhelming, right? They only had 3 sacks, and I know Justin Herbert is a tough guy to tackle, but I was expecting, no joke, guys, I was expecting Leatu Latu to have like 2 sacks. Maybe Tyquan Lewis gets a sack. Maybe Ebicom gets a sack. Of course, both those guys are hurt with groin and I believe it was a knee injury with Ebicom, MCL injury. And I expected Kwity Paye. I expected the defensive ends to feast. And it was not them that feasted. It was DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner went out there and absolutely destroyed the Chargers' offensive interior. He was getting double teamed. He was throwing one guy, and then the next guy he threw him to. Just absolutely a monster. Just a monster. But I think you learned about Lou Anarumo's defense is that he's able to traverse a lot of setbacks. He's able to make the defense look better than it probably should be and that the talent level indicates. But dear God in heaven, man, that pass rush, you are talking about all right, just to give you guys an idea, okay? The Chargers didn't have Joe Alt, right? They had a backup in there. Joe Alt is a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal tackle. They had Trey Pipkins III, who, by the way, was the backup for Rashawn Slater, who tore his patellar tendon for the season. Pipkins wasn't even in the game, man. They had a 3rd-string tackle out there. They had their freaking practice squad tackles going on out there. It seemed like I mean, the Colts should have been able to do more up front. I know, again, I know they hit Herbert 15 times. I know that there were times where they had him run for his life. There should have been more sacks. This is a concerning part of this defense, is the fact that they don't get more sacks and they don't get pressure enough on the quarterback. Look at Jacoby Brissett. He's not mobile at all. He is the definition of a stand there and throw the football pocket passer. Jacoby Brissett was back there having himself some sips of tea and everything else last week. I mean, he was just sitting back there. Oh, look, a receiver. Oh, look, a receiver. Oh, hold on a second. Let me check the time. Oh, yeah, it's time to throw. Like, he was sitting back there just on vacay, baby, sitting in a lawn chair, dude, on his front porch. So I think that the Colts really need to address their pass rushing issues. But if it's like, I think Patrick Rye mentioned this, Patrick, your exes are just amazing joke fodder. I am so happy you throw so many comments in there. Absolutely hilarious stuff. If the Colts do any trade, it has to be either for an edge rusher or it needs to be for a cornerback. Now, initially, before this game, you're thinking, oh, they need cornerback help. Go trade for another cornerback. Well, now you got Lewis out. Who knows how? I mean, I think it's day to day is what he is, or week to week. I don't have it in front of me, but Steichen basically said it's step-by-step recovery with Tyquan Lewis. And then you've got Ebicom is out, and I know that he wasn't playing like his 2023 form where he led the freaking team in sacks, but that's a reliable edge rusher. That's a veteran that can provide you a lot of things, and both those guys are out. I mean, right now you're looking at Leatu Latu, Kwity Paye, and JT Tuimoloau, who has been a healthy scratch at times and has barely seen that football field. Okay, they need to trade for an edge rusher more than they need a cornerback. I didn't think I'd say that because I was under the impression, this team needs cornerback help desperately, but they might need edge help more because it doesn't matter how good your cornerbacks are, right? If you have no pass rush and you don't have enough to get after a quarterback and threaten sacks, it doesn't matter, man. People are going to get open. If a quarterback has too much time, I don't care if you are Charvarius Ward or Sauce Gardner. They're not going to be able to cover somebody for that long. Eventually, the offense is always going to win. So, I've been hearing this about Max Crosby. We'll see. That's a lot of money. I mean, dear God, that guy, he would really, really threaten your salary cap. I think if you're paying Max Crosby, you're not going to extend Alec Pierce. Okay. Nick Cross next season, might as well let him walk. Okay. There's going to be some guys you're not going to have anymore. So, I mean, that's a risk. That is a big, big risk. I think that this one is coming back. They need Hendrickson. Here's the deal. I think if old man Flacco, Gandalf Flacco, didn't go out there and absolutely look like, I mean, dear Lord, man, Joe Flacco, he looked so good with Cincinnati against Pittsburgh last week. I don't know, man. I just don't know if Cincinnati will ever let go of Trey Hendrickson. Probably not. But there's things you can do. So I think at the end of the day, we learned about Anarumo's defense, that there's a lot of promise, right? But it's just not being shown from the pass rush. It's just not. And they are still kind of sort of getting gashed a little bit in the run. This game was different. They were able to the Chargers only ran the ball 10 times with their running backs, okay, for 23 freaking yards. And it was Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal. Okay, so I mean, you're not talking about Omarion Hampton. You're not talking about, and any guys that really are worth anything, because the Chargers have so many injuries. It's just been insane how many injuries this team has sustained. Najee Harris is also out. But yeah, I mean, the Colts definitely have some glaring weaknesses. I'll tell you right now, when they play Patrick Mahomes, when they play a guy like Aaron Rodgers, when they play a guy like, dare I even say it, man, Sam Darnold, CJ Stroud, maybe not because he's behind a really bad offensive line. But I mean, man, these accurate quarterbacks that aren't running for their lives, like Justin Herbert was, who might. I think that coming into this game, guys, he was tied with Cam Ward for the second most pressures in the NFL sustained. Like this guy's just getting pressured like 15 times a game. So I mean, but once they start playing quarterbacks that can hold it together, I don't know, man. I think that the Colts are going to get torched. I really do. And don't forget, this is also a Los Angeles Chargers team that beat the Chiefs. They beat the Broncos. They barely beat the Raiders. And the Colts just handed them a big old, L burger. So I think that this defense has got a lot to improve on. I'll go ahead and throw in here the biggest surprises. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think Alec Pierce stands out for the offense. You kind of think to yourself, well, Josh Downs isn't playing. What's Alec Pierce going to do? He's not a well-tooled enough receiver to go out there and create outside of big plays downfield. He proved us all wrong, right? He's making me look silly. I mean, he's making me look really smart for buying that jersey. Or actually, that was a Christmas gift. So that's a lie. I didn't buy that. But Alec Pierce went out there and absolutely dogged it, man. He was fantastic in that game, and he showed that he can be that dude. Josh Downs doesn't need to be out there when you've got Alec Pierce, right? Like, who would have thought that he would take over a game like that? I know that, Pittman had his 7 catches and Warren had 69 yards on 4 receptions. Both of them had touchdowns, but man, Alec Pierce is an absolute, he's a gem. He's a gem. He's very skilled. I was very, very impressed with number 14. But yeah, I think defensively, the biggest surprise for me, this one's going to be kind of tough. I would say, this is going to be hard. I'm going to have to pull up some numbers here. I think that my initial reaction would probably be Nick Cross. Not surprised anymore by what Nick Cross provides for the Colts, but just the way that he was able to come up with that interception. He just looked absolutely fantastic yet again in this game. But if I'm going with anybody, I'm probably going to go with Adetomowa Adebawore. Like the guy didn't necessarily have himself a crazy game, and it's more of a culmination of how he's played. But he had 3 more pressures. He was good in run defense. He secured tackles. He kind of got knocked off his base a little bit in the pass rush. But Justin Herbert is one of the hardest guys to tackle and sack in the NFL. And Adetomowa Adebawore had him dead to rights for a sack, and Herbert stiff-armed him. And he stiff-armed multiple Colts defenders that had him for sacks. Herbert is athletic, fast, and he's a huge dude. Again, I'll say this as I've said it before. Athletically, his abilities as a quarterback, his mindset, all remind me of Andrew Luck. Justin Herbert reminds me of Andrew Luck. He really does. And he was running for his life sometimes like Andrew Luck used to, This is a damn good quarterback. And Adetomowa Adebawore has just been in the backfield multiple times this season. He had 3 hurries. I mean, I'm really impressed by Adetomowa Adebawore. Was not on my bingo card that he would have this good of a season, which for a 4th rounder that people slept on and forgot that was even on the damn roster, that's pretty impressive. They signed Neville Gallimore, but between those two, who stood out more? It's Addy, man. So very, very excited to see what he's going to do. MVP of the game. We'll go with 2. I'll go with 1 on offense and 1 on defense. Look, I am just going to get it out of the way. It's Jonathan Taylor. What else am I supposed to – who the hell else am I supposed to put in that position, right? I want to say somebody else because you just see this every week now from Jonathan Taylor. But when you have 3 freaking touchdowns on the ground and one of them's a 23-yard scamper to pay dirt, baby, you can't pick anybody else. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is making a case literally for an MVP. He might as well be given the Offensive Player of the Year award. He's got more rushing touchdowns than some teams do by himself, okay? Just an absolute torrid performance. Jonathan Taylor he's a force. He's a force. He's not a player. He's not a talent. He's not a Pro Bowler. He's not a former All-Pro. He is a freaking force that just so happens to be the rest of those things. I mean, He does everything. He's got one cut ability. He power runs. He's patient, almost like Le'Veon Bell used to be with Pittsburgh. He's got that ability to break free. He's elusive. He's incredibly fast with his feet. I mean, just an absolute beast. And then if I did have to go, honestly, if I've got to go with a defensive player that's an MVP, it's DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner, man, 9 pressures. He hurried Herbert 5 times, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. 2 quarterback hits. He sealed off the game in the fourth quarter, man. DeForest Buckner, he just time and time again, year after year after year, he just doesn't get talked about enough as far as defensive tackles. He's a freak. He's a freak of nature on that football field. And, you know, Grover Stewart got the big man pick. Great run defender, had multiple stuffs. It's got to go to DeForest Buckner. Barles Barkley, baby. Here we go. The Colts have world beaters on second and third and have been world beaters on second and third and medium. And with Pierce, with the Pierce stud over the top, it's virtually unguardable. I mean, it's like I said earlier, Manti Te'o on Good Morning Football said it beautifully. He's like, this offense is the most deadly because they can beat you deep, intermediate, and short in the passing game. Of course, they've got Jonathan Taylor. But how many heavy run offenses have you seen where they can also beat the crap out of you throwing the football to every single section of the field? That is a nightmare for the defense to cover. And they also have variety. They've got Josh Downs, your quick win guy, crazy route runner, great catch radius. You've got Tyler Warren, your quick win option, who can burst the seams, and he's got yards after catch ability, who can also block in line. You've got Michael Pittman Jr., who's your all-around guy. Not so much a deep threat. He can get it done, but he does a lot of his damage in possession situations, in short, intermediate, but he's more of that like all-around guy, okay? Then you've got Alec Pierce, who is a guy that's just going to torch you down the field, but can also do other things, you know? And dare I say it, and it's still a guy I have so much hope for, but Adonai Mitchell, he does pretty much all of those things outside of contested catches if he can just pull his head together, man. I mean, the Colts have got so many ways to attack your defense that it's almost impossible to stop it. That's really what it is at the end of the day. And yesterday they didn't even have Josh Downs, man. They didn't even have Ashton Doolin. They still torched the crap out of that Chargers secondary. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that was a top 10 pass defense before Khalil Mack came back. What else are you supposed to say about this Colts offense? So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. What's next? What's next for Indianapolis? They have to continue to prove it. They have to continue to prove it. I fully expect, this is the NFL, guys. I really hope that Colts fans remember this is to be realistic. Okay. The Colts have beat every tier of opponent you can. Okay. But I want to see them beat a team like the Chiefs. I want to see them beat a team like the Seahawks. You know, the Seahawks are a really, really good team, man. They're probably going to be a serious playoff contender. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, or as Pat McAfee says, the Chiefs is the Chiefs. If they can beat, honestly, also Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a very talented football team. Mike Tomlin is always tough. If they can beat teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, who else are they supposed to beat, man? I mean, you're talking about, a team that's been in the Super Bowl multiple times and has won 3 since Patrick Mahomes has been there. You know, that's what Indianapolis. If I'm sitting here, guys, and I'm saying that Indianapolis to prove that they are the best of the best, they're going to need to beat a team like the Chiefs. That's pretty freaking good. And I already think that they've proven they're the best of the best. I really do. But if they beat the Chiefs and they beat the Steelers, who else are they supposed to beat, man? Like, who else are they supposed to beat? There's no one else to beat. It's just like in mixed martial arts, they cleared out the division. They cleared out the weight class. Now you got to go to a different weight class to keep on competing. And then you fight for a new belt. And then you got 2 over your shoulders. That's the Colts right now. There's only a few more opponents on their schedule they have to beat where you're like, who in the hell else are they supposed to play? I fully expect them to lose a couple games. I actually wouldn't be surprised if one of those is divisional. I really wouldn't. Trevor Lawrence has been a bane of Indy's existence over these last couple of years, even though he looked like an absolute garbage can against the Rams. I expect Indianapolis to lose a couple of these games, but it's incredible. It's incredible what the Colts are doing. And yes, NFL nerd, Minshew beat the Steelers, but man, I'm pretty confident they had Mason Rudolph. So, or maybe they didn't. They definitely had a backup quarterback though. But look, man, at the end of the day, I think that's what's next for Indianapolis. Okay. They have to keep winning. And the immediate one is the Tennessee Titans. They need to go out there and put belt to ass. Okay. They beat them by, I think it was either 40-21 or 41-20. I can't remember. But the Titans are in complete disarray. Cam Ward is not playing well. He's overwhelmed. He has a crappy offensive line. That offense is just not good. The defense might not have Jeffrey Simmons. He got dinged up in the last game. And the Titans are just falling apart. They don't have their head coach anymore. They're in the interim phase. They're basically saying, all right, let's just finish this season out and let's get going. Which you expect nothing less from such awful ownership like the Titans have. I feel bad for Titans fans, honestly, guys. I really do. Given the coach, given the ownership, and then they fire the coach and the owner's not even at the freaking press conference. It's like Colts fans are spoiled with Carly Ursay Gordon and the Ursay sisters. I'll tell you that. So, but anyway, guys, let's see. Do we have any other comments here? I knew it. I knew Patrick would throw it in here. You're not going to let me leave this show, are you? You're going to, because I'm alone, you're going to keep me here the rest of the night. I knew it. Conditional 4th to Miami for edge, Jalen Phillips. Ooh. A conditional 6th to the Jets for cornerback Brandon Stevens before the deadline, realistic and talented. Jalen Phillips has not been a fantastic edge rusher, but Miami is such they're such a crap fest right now that Bradley Chubb should be on the market. Jordan Brooks, he's a linebacker, but absolute beast of a football player. Jordan Brooks is a man. Jalen Phillips, yes, of course, he stands out. If I was any one of those guys, I would want to get as far away from, my mushroom taking head coach as I could. Right now that is an organization that is just falling apart at the seams. Like the pages are flying out of the book, and it's just, I do expect Indianapolis. Honestly, will it happen? Maybe. But I do expect Indianapolis to try to do something for a deal. I think that they need to do something because otherwise your cornerback room is staying the way it is. You're just hoping guys get healthy, and you're in the midst of a very difficult part of your schedule that's forming here. Once they get done with the Titans, guys, it gets more difficult. Like I said, we're talking here. I'm just going to throw this out there, and then I do have to wrap up the show. So you got the Steelers, contender. You've got the Falcons, good football team. You've got the Chiefs. They're the Chiefs. You've got the Texans who will fight and compete with you. Okay. I know Stroud has not been playing the greatest football, but they still have weapons on offense. And their defense is a top 5 unit any given game day. They're going to press Indianapolis. It's not just going to be easy for Indianapolis to beat Houston. It's not going to be easy for them to beat the Jaguars either. Their divisional contests, man, Trevor Lawrence knows. He knows the Colts really well, but the one saving grace is he does not know Lou Anarumo very well. The Seahawks, contender. The 49ers, contender. It doesn't matter who the hell's playing quarterback. I'm 5'7" and as pale as sour cream, and I could go back there and play quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. And then they finish out with two AFC South contests to potentially be battling it out for the title. So this is a time when Indianapolis has got to make a deal. If they're going to do something, they need to make a trade now. They can't wait. Their secondary is destroyed. Their pass rush is not there, and they just lost a great rotational guy in Tyquan Lewis. By the way, was walking into that Chargers game with 3 sacks as a rotational piece. He was on par for 8.5. And then you've got Samson Ebukam, who did have 2 sacks and provided, some good leadership and some good plays every now and again. They got to find a way to patch that up now. Like, how are you going to figure that out? They made room with Kenny Moore's restructure. We'll see. We'll see if they have a deal up their sleeve, but it's got to be either an edge rusher or a cornerback, because you just cannot in any way, shape, or form think that this defense is going to help you win with all these injuries. So, but guys, that is the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was just me by myself. What an absolutely amazing time to be a Colts fan. Guys, soak it in. Make the most of it. Drink some beer in celebration. I know I have been, and I cover this team. It's been fun to cover this football team. I started on this podcast the week Frank Reich got fired. Okay. That's when I started this job. That's when I started covering this team. That's when I started writing about this team. And it followed up with a 9-8 finish and no playoffs, and an 8-9 finish and no playoffs. I'll be honest with you. It's pretty freaking cool to be covering a team that's a playoff level team for once. So, but guys, as always, do not forget, like the Horseshoe Huddle on Facebook, follow Indianapolis Colts on SI.com. And of course, we are at Colts on _SI on X. Don't forget to subscribe to the Horseshoe Huddle on YouTube, or if you're an upper cruster, it's YouTube. And click that bell to turn on all the notifications. If you want to listen to the Horseshoe Huddle podcast, my co-host Noah has got you guys covered. We are on Apple. We are on Spotify, wherever else you take in your podcasts. Guys, rejoice. Be excited. Take this in while you can. Who knows how long it's going to last? Okay? Who knows how long this is going to last? You're hoping it lasts next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. You're hoping it goes into a first-round bye. You're hoping you get that win in the divisional round. You head into the AFC conference, and you're facing the Chiefs. You're facing maybe the Bills. And you're hoping that Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen can somehow continue that momentum into a freaking Super Bowl. And yes, I said it, and I'll leave you with this. It's not far-fetched to say this team can win a Super Bowl this year. Take care, everybody. We'll see you again on Thursday.